Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon to everyone here. I am Sanskruti Dhawley, here to BBA student here at SPJ School of Global Management, a yoga enthusiast and Eco Youth Club member, and I'll be your host for the day. Thank you so much for joining this session, and we'll start in a while. I think on the behalf of organizers, I would like to thank all of you from joining from all the corners around the world for this beautiful panel discussion on the account of International Yoga Day, which the world celebrates on 21st of June. Spreading awareness and practicing yoga can help us achieve sustainable development goal number 3, that says good health and well-being for all. And I think this is particularly relevant because yoga helps us improving physical health and general well-being, and also mental health and stimulating recovery at the same time. Having said that, it is now time to introduce you all to our speakers for the panel. So Ms. Padideh Fazelzadeh has about 10 years of experience in teaching yoga in India and Malaysia, and was the first yoga teacher to perform yoga on the Harbour Bridge on the occasion of International Yoga Day 2016. And it is my pleasure to host you, Ms. Paddy. Welcome to the panel.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
And we have with us Mr. Aditya Sood, who is a Dean's Lister BBA graduate from SPJ School of Global Management and is one of the youngest yoga teachers by Art of Living, has actively worked in youth empowerment and education programs for the same. Welcome to the panel, Aditya.
Thank you so much, Sanskruti. Happy to be here.
Great. Looking forward to a fruitful discussion. So let's get started then. The first question I have is for Ms. Paddy. Tell us a little about your journey. How did you start doing yoga, and how was it initially? How is it now? How do you feel, and how has been your overall experience?
I would like to welcome everyone who is listening, and thank you for having me. So I was born in Iran, and I came to Australia when I was a teenager, and I was studying in a medical degree in the University of Sydney. And I had never done yoga or meditation in my life, and I was not familiar with it from my family, or not much familiar with it in Iran also. But I remember I was very stressed. So I was succeeding in my education, in my career, but I wasn't really happy. And I didn't even know I wasn't happy. So by a very sudden accident, I was invited to a workshop called Health and Happiness. So because I was working in the medical field, I was intrigued by the word health. So I attended, and that was my first yoga session. And to this day, I never forget it. It was around 20 minutes. And I remember walking out, and the freshness, I would call it, and the clarity that I had in my mind, I had never experienced before. So I thought, well, this is really amazing. But I didn't even know what it was. After some time, then I attended a yoga teacher training by the Art of Living Foundation in Malaysia. And I wasn't planning to become a teacher. I just wanted to do a retreat to get rid of stress. And I didn't know it was a teacher training program. But I think what that program did for me is that I was forced, because you had to wake up in the morning and practice yoga. So I was forced to practice every day for 21 days. And I can tell you that when I came back, I was not the same Padideh anymore. My life had changed forever. So the biggest change for me was that I was doing well in my career. Like I was doing well. I was working in a very good hospital in Sydney. But I wasn't truly happy with what I was doing. I thought there's something else for me, or I could help people in a different way. And that gave me, see, yoga didn't just calm me down, but it gave me the courage to change my career totally and go and study again. And now I have my business and I do what I love to do. So I would say yoga has had a big, has played a big role in this for me. Thank you.
How beautiful is that? The same question I have for Mr. Adi. How has your journey been?
Sure, Patty, that was a beautiful story. But also for me, I mean, I found yoga at a very young age. So I think I was about 5 years old when I started meditating with my grandparents. And the switch was that they did not force me to meditate. I used to force them to meditate because I used to find that they were more fun when they had meditated. So that made my life easier. And as and when I grew up, and I think I was in class seventh or eighth, I was a very introvert kind of a person here. I was doing my schooling from Shimla, and I did not find a lot of leadership skills and all in me. And that was the point when somebody had introduced me to a yoga program with Art of Living, and I went and did that program. It was happening in our summer break. It was called Summer Splash. So it sounded exciting, so I went ahead and did it. And after that, I kind of started practicing it regularly. Not I did not make a conscious decision to practice it every day, but it just happened. And I could see such a big shift in my own personality. I mean, in class 12th, I became the head boy of that school, and all the teachers there used to share the story that once Aditya was such an introvert child, he used to not even talk to two people, and today he is the head boy and he's doing networking for the school. And I went on to get the best captain award in the school. And similarly, when I went to SPJ, that was the college that I went to, uh, the this aspect of yoga, it helped me build my network. You know why? Because I think yoga brings you good vibes. It brings you that positivity around you, and vibe, or that positive atmosphere that you create, that is very important, right? And Sanskruti, being from a business field yourself, you would know, you know you make a decision when you go and meet somebody at your first look, that do you want to network with this person, do you want to go ahead and do any deal with this person, right? You have made that decision in the first 5 seconds, right? And yoga helps you bring that positivity in you. So that kind of helped me to grow at college, explore new opportunities, gain trust, so people would give me more exposure there. And eventually then I became the vice president at college as well. So in a nutshell, I think yoga has helped me develop those leadership skills, right? And also helped me explore a little bit more.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, both of you. I think that one thing that was common in both your stories is the self-confidence part, and how confident you get with yoga, how self-centric you become, and how amazing the experience is. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think I have the next question from Ms. Paddy again. How has yoga helped you in your overall journey? And how do you think our community entirely can use the powerful weapons of yoga and meditation to achieve success?
So, as we mentioned now, having confidence, and you talked about community. Right now, more than ever, we need the support of the community. In isolation, there's been lockdown in many countries for a long time, and people have lost their close family members. And yoga means union. So during this COVID time, we have experienced how important it is that we are connected as a community in the whole world. So, for example, I live in Australia, and there's not much of COVID cases happening in this country right now. However, the fact that this is happening in many countries in the world, you could see that it brings sadness and tension all around the world. So right now, more than ever, people need support with their mental health and with confidence, and most importantly, resilience to move forward. And these practices of yoga meditation, breathing practices, they've been around for thousands of years. They've been around for years and they work. So more than ever, we need it right now, I would say, and it is for everybody, regardless of their background, which country they're from, what religion they're from. Yoga can help us right now.
I think that answers a lot of questions, because I see a lot of people associating yoga with so many assumptions. It is only for flexible people, or only for athletes, only for people who are spiritual. But when you say yoga is for everyone, I think it answers a lot of questions. I'm
Absolutely.
directing the same question to Aditya. How do you think student community can get help from powerful weapons of yoga and meditation?
Right. Sanskriti, I think student community is one of the most stressed out community, you know, because especially if you're living in a country like, where you have to work, you have to do your job, you have to study, you have to manage your household all together. I have seen students get into a lot of addictions due to that, or a lot of depression because of that. And I feel that to manage that stress, you need some kind of tool, right? And this is not taught anywhere, how to handle your own mind, how to handle your emotions, right? So I feel that this is a very important life skill that everyone needs to have, right? And once you understand that your mind is not a the mind is not the ship that is carrying you. You are the one who is controlling your mind, and you just need to learn how to drive it, right? You cannot make somebody sit on a driver's seat who has not even learned how to drive. Your car will go down the valley or down in the ocean. you know so that's what we are doing with our lives. We don't know how to drive our life, and we are sitting on the driver's seat, going down the valley very happily. So I think just 15 to 20 minutes of daily practice of yoga or meditation, that can bring a lot of clarity, a lot of focus and dynamism in today's youth. And that is what is needed for us, right?
Yeah, definitely. I so much agree with the focus part, because I've myself experienced I'm much more focused and centric after yoga in my life, and helps so much in academic journey. You can do a lot of your work in less amount of time. And moving on to the next question, as Ms. Paddy rightly said, that we need it now more than ever. I think stress management, immunity building, and anxiety reduction have been concerns since the hit of pandemic, and we found it very difficult to adapt to this new normal and stay productive in it. And how has this shift been for you, and how has yoga helped you?
I work in the field of health. And since you mentioned health and what yoga does for health and going through tough times, I'd like to share something with you that fascinated me when I learned more about yoga. Yoga teaches you about your being and who we are, and connecting with that inner space of confidence and happiness in us. So, when we want to be healthy and we want to deal with difficult situations and like keep a healthy body and have a strong immune system, for example, during this time, we always think about how to keep the body healthy. So we should have more vitamin C, and which food is better for our body. But when I learned about yoga through the programs in Art of Living that I did, I learned this aspect that we are made up of 7 layers of existence, not just our body. So there is also our breath. Our breath needs to be healthy. It's a part of us. There is our mind. There is our intellect, which analyzes, and our memory. It needs to be sharp, and our ego, what connects us with the world or what separates us. And finally, the self, which is that aspect of us which is always happy and non-changing. So when you look at this, it's so fascinating that for years, when we talk about health, we want to take care of our body. But what about all these other levels? How are we taking care of them? And stress needs to be managed. Immunity and stress, everyone knows now that they're very much connected. The more stressed we are, the more stress hormones we have in our system, the more this impacts our immune system. So if we are taking care of all these levels, that is when true health is happening. And like Aditya said, we never learned this at school. And as a practitioner, I found this fascinating. So I always see people that, are we taking care of all these levels for you? And, you know, when it's yoga and meditation and breathing practices are one of the best ways that you can take care of your whole health as a holistic way. And how it has helped me, I would say that during this time, I would say there's been difficult times, of course. I wouldn't say I was always happy and sitting and feeling joyful. There's been stressful times, but I would say what yoga gave me personally was that confidence and that strength, that to be able to get through the time without being shaken too much. And you know, when we are in that space, then we can give back to the world more as well. So we can offer more to people on the planet, because this need is out there now.
Wow, because when you were sharing about the 5 levels of existence, it's such a nostalgia for me. I just started remembering when I knew it about for the first time, and how enlightening it was for me. And I think everyone should know about it, because all of us owe it to our body to give it one try to yoga and meditation at least once in their life. Because once you start doing it, you just can't go back to your normal lifestyle. So moving on to the next question, the same question for Mr. Aditya. How has this helped you, and how do you think yoga made a difference in your journey from what we were, and how now the new normal has shaped our lives?
Right. You know, as Paddy said, about the levels of existence, I always used to hear it as a concept, but this time I actually experienced it when I got COVID myself. My whole family was down with COVID at one point of time. And that is when your smell has gone, taste has gone, body is non-reactive, and the only thing you have to spend time is with your other 6 layers of existence. They are your companions there. So that concept became a reality, and that is when I actually, felt the importance of what yoga has done for me. If you are left in a room with your own mind, how much time can you spend with it? Just ask this question to yourself. Your mind, a lot of people's mind is so agitated, so filled with frustration, or with so many thoughts that if they close their eyes for 5 seconds, they can't stay there. And if you can't live with your own mind, how do you expect people to live with you? So in this new normal, where my whole family was COVID positive, and even my grandparents were going through it, it was a tough time. I wouldn't say that I was overjoyed with it, or I was feeling all good with it. No, it was a tough time. But what yoga does to you is just that half an hour of practice in the morning. And with COVID, you can't do rigorous yoga, just very simple breathing techniques and meditation I used to do in the morning. And that used to help me to not only stabilize my own mind, keep my own self focused, how to take care of myself, how to take care of the family in the best way, but it also helped me spread positivity. So even in those times, we used to be laughing, we used to be cracking jokes on Zoom, and that can only happen when you are in the present moment. And yoga does that to you. Yoga brings you to the now. It cuts all those what ifs, from your mind. So that is what I think is important in today's world, with so much negative information flowing around us, and with so many bad news coming to us. You need that layer of protection in your own mind. And I think Paddy also has heard this. We have heard Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar say this. He's the founder of Art of Living, that you brush your own teeth every day. You don't go and ask this question that why should we brush? How has it changed your life? So it's the same thing with yoga. Yoga is for your mental hygiene, right? And if you will keep your mind hygienic and clean, obviously you will benefit from it, right? You don't need to go and ask consultants on why should I keep my mind clean, right?
Yeah, I think that's just so on bang on. I mean, you cannot go and ask why do we have to do this, but then yoga is something, especially for Indians like us, it's been in our customs, it's been imbibed in us, but then over the time we've been forgetting all of this, and now we are going back to where we were. So it's just magical to see how the world is changing. That this brings us to question number 4. So, Miss Patty, how do you think that people can incorporate yoga in their already busy schedules? I think answering this is very easy for all of us here, but still, from your point of view, how do you think people can make time for yoga?
I would say this absolutely from my experience and my heart to all of you. The busier you are, the more you need to practice yoga and meditation. And I say that that is very true for myself. So on the days that I know I've got something really important, I've got an important meeting, I've got a lot on, I will make sure that I do my practice that day properly, or I would spend more time on it. So the question of how to fit it in a busy schedule, my question would be for you, if you have this question, my life is busy, how can I fit yoga to it? I would say, if your life is busy, how can you manage it without yoga, without meditation, without taking care of your mind? Because you see, when Gurudev Shri Ravi Shankar says, when we practice yoga, what meditation, breathing practices, which is all yoga, what we get is clarity in our mind. Clarity in our mind, sincerity in our actions, and purity in our heart. So when we are clear in our mind, we know what we want, we don't need as much time. We can get things done. When we are really sincere in our action, things will get done properly. And when we are pure in the heart, we have good intention. Everything that we do comes from a place that I want to do good on the planet. So everything will work out perfectly. The time will get managed more. And what I've seen over the years for myself, my patients, all of my students, is that what drains our energy, which then drains our time, because the less energy we have, the less productive we are, the more time we need to do something, is a lot of negative thoughts and negative emotions. So if we observe ourselves, we see that on a day, if something is upset us, if something is bothering us, we are not very happy, our mind is engaged with something unnecessary, we don't have as much energy, we don't have clarity to do the things that we want to do. So this is the best investment to do if we are busy. The busier we are, the more we need to do the practice. So first, we need to be convinced of this. Secondly, how do we incorporate it? Maybe find out some time of some things that we are doing that are not so necessary. So maybe sleeping in the morning, maybe we can get up a little bit earlier. I would say, like Aditya said, half an hour is really good, but even if we start with 15 minutes of practice, just being with our breath, practicing some yoga postures for the body, closing our eyes and just observing our breath, even that for every day consistently, that will help us. Or, a lot of us spend a lot of time on social media these days. So maybe reducing a little bit of that time and adding it to our practice of yoga. That would be my advice. Maybe Aditya would have some tips as well.
That was really on point, actually. Sorry, Sanskruti. I'll just add to that. I had heard this thing once that, for example, if you have to travel 200 kilometers and if there is just jam packed, there are a lot of cars on the way, it'll take you around 5 hours, 6 hours to, complete that journey. But if the road is empty, you will cover that same journey in like 2.5, 3 hours, and that is the same with our mind. When our mind is bombarded with thoughts, and when it is bombarded with emotions and all the things coming in, you will do the same thing for a longer time. So you'll take maybe 4 hours to do one task, right? But if your mind is at peace, it is settled, you will take 2 hours to do the same thing, lesser time, right? Less effort and less time to do the same thing if your mind is settled. So it is a smart investment, smart decision. And at the end of it, the decision is in somebody's hand, it is in your hand, right? So I would just say that keep this in mind, that you will be able to better manage your energy and time and make a smart choice. Yeah.
I think I'll just direct the question to you again, Aditya. The same question. How do you think, because you know you've been a student yourself, all of us have been student ourselves in our life some point of time, but how has it helped your academic journey? Because how has you made time? How did you make time in your busy schedule, managing yoga and at the same time being in the academics, excelling all the time, as we know?
Right. Yeah, so it's the same thing. I mean, I used to make it a point. I used to get up in the morning and used to practice yoga before going to class, right? And there were times, I remember in Dubai, we were working on our regional immersion projects, and literally 24/7 we were working on that project. We used to sit downstairs in subway or somewhere in the Silicon Oasis, and we used to be sitting till 7 a.m. doing our projects there and go directly to the class from there. So there have been such sleepless nights, but I have been able to better manage those sleepless nights because I used to meditate. So a good quality 15 to 20 minutes of meditation will help you, cover for 3 to 4 hours of good sleep. That is what I have experienced, right? And if I used to not be able to meditate in the morning, I used to make it a point that before dinner, I will not have dinner till I have not done some meditation and some yoga, right? So that kind of commitment you will get when you experience the benefits of it, right?
Yeah, I think I can't just stop myself from adding what I took away from Shri Shri Ravi Shankarji the most, and that was that he calls yoga as his wealth, and which is so beautiful, because all of us here are moving towards something that we call wealth. We want to create wealth, and he calls yoga as his wealth. So that's something so beautiful. And moving on to the last question for both of you, how have you both stayed very focused on the path of yoga? Has it been difficult for you staying true to your passion, at the same time staying true to something that is very close to your heart, that is yoga? How has it been for you?
For me, it hasn't been hard at all. I think once you experience what yoga can bring in your life, then it's not separate. So I wouldn't say my life is separate, like I have the yoga aspect of my life and then my career and success. It's because of yoga that I'm succeeding. So for me, it's become like having food. I actually prioritize it over eating because I've seen the effect of it, because I've gone through times that I haven't done my practice and I've realized, wow, how did I ever live without it before? So I am very convinced that I need this. So I wouldn't say it's separate from different parts of my life. I think yoga is, as you said, I definitely agree. It is the wealth in my life, and it brings that, you talked about passion, like it brings that confidence and enthusiasm that I could lose everything I've built and start from scratch and have that confidence to keep going. And I think this is wealth, to have the confidence inside you that I've got everything in me to do what I need to do in my life. So I would say for me, it hasn't been separate, and it hasn't been difficult.
What about you, Aditya?
Yeah, I think yoga, we associate the word passion with a hobby usually. And for me, yoga is not a hobby. As Paddy said, it is a necessity for me. I can't live without it now. So same with me. There have been times where I have missed my practice for a few days. And after those few days, the world has felt like a burden on my head. And I used to wonder, how did I ever live without yoga, live without meditation? And I remember one of my batchmates at SPJ, Rishabh. So he used to tell me that I can see the difference when you have done your practice and when you have not done the practice. You come out smiling and glowing when you come having done your practice, and you come like an angry person when you have not done your practice. It's like coffee for me. So I think staying true to that passion has not been very difficult, because it's so enjoyable, it's so fun. Like I have said, that wellness and yoga does not have to be so complicated and all wordy and fancy. It needs to be very simple, natural, and fun. Yeah.
I wanted to add something also, because we teach yoga. I think the three of us are yoga teachers, Shri
Yeah.
yoga teachers here. So also, I think what really helps to stay on this path of yoga is the experience that you get from your participants, the students, sharing how it's changed their life. Like I was on a course recently and someone shared that, I haven't slept. They did the breathing practice, Sudarshan Kriya, which is another program, but breath is part of yoga. That is yoga. And they shared that they hadn't slept for years and years. This lady, like middle-aged. And she said during the program, she said, Paddy, I had the best sleep and I'm so grateful. So this really helps you, of course, continue doing it, because there's no joy like hearing people experiencing this through yoga. And if you've been lucky enough to have something to do with it.
That's so true, Paddy. I think Sanskruti is also founder of a yoga company, something, right? And she's also Sri Yoga teacher, so she would definitely understand this. I mean, I have had this experience. I recently became a Sri Yoga teacher last year in COVID lockdown, and since then I've had such good experiences. My participants have that it motivates me to dive deep into it. That's true.
Just so true. Same has been for me. Not only the physical part of the pain when they text you and tell you, we are getting relief from the physical pain. And you feel, oh my God, are we doing this? Are we really doing this in our life?
Yeah.
So I think we have one question from Aryan Pradhan in the chat. And the question is, often while meditating, the mind goes through several chains of thoughts, and staying with your breath can be difficult. For beginners, if you are anxious, how to build in it? I think it's very, it's normal and it's okay to let the mind wander off. But what would you suggest, Ms. Parry and Aditya?
Many people think meditation is when you have no thoughts, or meditation is concentration. But that is not true. That's a myth. So when the thoughts come during the meditation, especially if you're just starting to meditate, you can just observe your thoughts. It can be difficult at the beginning, but you find that when you're just being with the thoughts and you're observing them like the clouds passing in the sky, and you're not engaging with them, they will subside. But if you keep engaging with it, oh, I'm not having a good meditation, I'm not, Shri Ravi Shankar says, for a good meditation, we need three things. I want nothing. Just for the next 20 minutes, I don't want anything. I don't even want a good experience in meditation. I am nothing. I am not Paddy or Aditya or a student or a mother for the next 20 minutes. And I want nothing, I am nothing, and I do nothing. For the next 20 minutes, I don't want to do anything. So these three golden rules can help you. But I would suggest, I'm not sure how you're meditating, but for meditation, it's really important also to have a teacher that can guide you through meditation and help you. For everything, we need a teacher to learn. Like I've needed a teacher in my career. So in the field of mind, which is very subtle, it's important to learn from someone who knows really well. So that would be my advice.
I completely agree. I mean, it's very important to learn meditation, from a good teacher and practice it. But also, I think this question is from Aryan. So Aryan, there are many guided meditations by Sri on YouTube. So in the lockdown, I think he took meditation twice a day, and there are about 250, 300 meditations on YouTube, which are amazing, so beautiful. And he guides you through the meditation step by step. You just have to sit, So you can start with that, and then you can do a program to learn meditation that will really help you to go deeper into this practice.
Thank you so much for those beautiful answers. I hope that answers it. Aditya said in the chat, it was very insightful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Patty and Aditya, for your time. It's been a wonderful discussion, and I'm so glad that I've been a part of this. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure hosting you both. And thank you to the audience for joining in. Thank you for Eco Youth Club for organizing this, and stay tuned for what we have next. We have amazing activities lined in coming up. That's it from my side. Thank you so much, everyone. And we are good to go. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Aditya.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Sanskruti. Thank you, Aditya.
Thank you.